Thinking of Alaskan cruise. We've been up there before, so we're gonna go out to.
Okay, at this time, I notify that we have come out of the executive session. I'd like to, at this time, notify we've come out of executive session. And we went into executive session to discuss the legalities around the general purpose tax with possible amendments, rescission, or alternatives. And at this time, I know each commissioner would like to comment regarding where we're at and where we're going. So at this time, I'll turn the floor over to any one of the commissioners who'd like to comment at this point in time. Commissioner Smith.
Sure, I'll start and say, yes, we do have an election. Yes, it is going on. You can even vote now. And we do need ambulance money. And that is the vast majority of what this is about. Yes, there are some other things attached to it, but funding the ambulance, as our public knows, has been a struggle, and this will help to resolve that issue. So those would be my comments.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Shanefield.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So first and foremost, I just want to say that we have heard the feedback from the public. We've heard some feedback from the GOP, and we're listening. There are some things that legally we cannot make adjustments to at this point in time. However, we are committed to keeping this only being 4 years. And we also are committed to sharing, or 3 years it would be, and then committed to sharing the clear information about exactly what this is going to fund. I know there's been questions around the EMS and exactly what it would be funding, ambulance, who would be getting that funding, how it would be dispersed. Same with the economic development. I know economic development has been something that I've been talking about for years. And really focusing on how we can improve the economy and diversify the economy in Sweetwater County. And there are some much needed things that are much bigger than a lot of folks around here we just haven't done them in the state of Wyoming. We have great tax incentives. We do not have any other incentives for businesses coming in that we can preach and bring them to Sweetwater County. And so some of these projects are much bigger, and they're a little less clear exactly how that would look in the long term, but they're really, really important for us to have the opportunity to grow the economic development section that we have just really started to build on, and to fund the very critical EMS services, ambulance services, as well as our first responders throughout our county. And that is what we all started off in this process to solve that issue for the community. And we feel like it's really important that we allow our citizens to have the right to choose if they want to fund that or not. So.
Thank you, Commissioner Shanefield. Anybody else? Commissioner Tolman? Yes.
I guess I would just like the public to know that we're elected to do our very best and to make the wisest decisions we possibly can. But not any one of us on here knows the answers to everything. And so going into it with that intention, we're not in favor of more taxes. I don't think any one of us up here is in favor of more taxes. But we were running up against deadlines. We were facing declining revenues of approximately 30%. We have reserves that might carry us for 2 or 3 years. And then what? Do we just wait till then, hit the wall and say, now we have no ambulance, we have no nothing because we don't have the money? So we were trying to be proactive. Once we made that decision, seeing the ambulance bills come in, we made the decision to try to be proactive and ease into this. In the meantime, would give us time to figure out some other alternatives, maybe to be more self-sufficient, like the events complex. I mean, they do things to try to earn their own keep, and the airport is almost self-sufficient. And the hospital and some of the entities like that have worked very hard to be self-sufficient, so they're not relying on so much taxpayer funding. So once we made that decision that we better start being proactive about this ambulance situation, we realized we have these deadlines. July 15th, we had to let the clerk know. And so we had to make a decision and a resolution. And so I guess we have to apologize that we didn't have the facts out there first, is what it should have happened. So in light of that, we are getting the information out, and we want people to show up and vote, whether it's for or against. But it's important that they understand why we did it and how it happened.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Lloyd?
Yeah, we just kind of rolled down the row, I guess. So, sometimes the best vision is our hindsight. And, you make a decision and you look behind yourself in the rear view mirror and go, man, maybe there's some things we could have done differently. And unfortunately, can't always go back and change that hindsight. And I will tell you, from the beginning of this process, when we started looking at the tax, I was the skeptical one up here. I noted things that concerned me, and I actually voted for it to go through, because I specifically said, I believe in letting people make the decisions. So whether you're for this tax or against this tax, I believe you should vote. I believe you need to tell your neighbors, get out and people to vote. That is the key in this situation, is to express if you like this tax or not the way it's presented. I have some hindsight that I wish there were some different things that we could do to rescind and amend the way it went through, but it is the way it is. So go educate yourself, become diligent, because I can tell you, I think I can honestly tell the constituents in this community, I have spent the last 2 weeks looking at every option front and back of this election, within amendment, rescindment, which way do we go? And there is no way to back up the car on this. I can only see it in my rearview window. So educate yourself. You got to vote. And so when we do discuss today, and I do believe we owe it to the voters to make sure information is out, and specifically information about, hey, there is a vote in November, because I think it's important that people know that they have the opportunity to make this decision. Yeah, there may have been 3 or 4 entities that put this proposition together and it ended up on the ballot. But the greatest thing is you get to decide if you want this to go through. And I think it's important that you share your opinions. If you're against the tax, to reach out to one of us, talk to us. If you're for the tax, reach out, talk to us. And that way in the future, we have a better idea, because I think one of the things that we really lacked in this situation was the time to discern it right and vet it out right. So, so what we gave you is a decent product, and it's up to you to vet it out, whether you should vote for it or not. And I just encourage you to vote.
Thank you, commissioners. I get to go last, of course, and I can only support everything everyone has said and that type of thing. Again, too, I fully support, and I do believe that moving forward with this tax, if it's approved, it should not, it should go back to the voters in 3 years, and the voters should have a say based on the track record of it. I look at it from the standpoint of our 12 mil budget, as far as how it impacts what we need. What we need for our 12 mil is to reduce the spending in that general fund to the county. And one way to do that, of course, is to look at what we're funding in outside agencies and that. And unfortunately, you get joint communications, which is between the 3 entities is over $1 million plus, maybe 2, maybe more. You get the ambulance is 1.2, and now we're burdened again this morning. If anyone's been listening, a 17% increase on health insurance, which will impact the general fund as well. And that type of thing. And that equates to about a $1.3 million issue. So this proposition was deeply needed between all 3 communities to help with their general fund. And it's obvious that, like Commissioner Lloyd said, with hindsight, maybe some things could have been tightened up and more clear, but I don't think there's anything more clear than the absolute need for this proposition to be successful in order to help with cities and counties and towns general fund budgets. So we look at ambulance. I know we talk about it, and I apologize to to the people in the ambulance, because that's all they hear and they go, what's going on? No, it's deeper than that. It's joint communications, which is public safety as well. And it's also other things that it's not going to be spent for, but I mean, it just helps our general fund budget to be able to fund other things that are needed that might be for our employees or it might be for outside agencies to keep them whole, but that'll be another story. But anyhow, I agree with everything that our fellow commissioners have said. And in moving forward, one of the issues is getting the information out, which in order to do that, we need to approve it as a commission or disapprove it. So with that, if there's no more comments from the commission, Commissioner Tolman, one more comment.
Well, my comment is that I do not believe any one of us, cities or counties or special districts, are required by law to provide this ambulance service. And in the meantime, maybe the legislature will be able to do something to help make it an essential service so we can get more assistance. So we're asking for help in the interim to try to find solutions to having better public safety infrastructure and reliable ambulance service. So that.
Yeah, very good.
add
Thank
that.
you. So with that, moving forward, we do need to provide information to our public, and it needs to be approved by the county as we move forward. And I would ask what's the pleasure of the commission
Mr.
as
Chair,
far as providing information? Commissioner Shanefield.
knowing that we're moving forward with this, I'd like to make a motion to provide information regarding the general purpose tax resolution to our public.
Okay, we have a motion to approve information regarding the proposition for our public. Is there a second?
I would be happy to second that.
Second by Commissioner Tolman. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Let's move forward and let's do the best job we can with it, and hope we can answer some questions for our public and maybe be fortunate enough to not only help the county and the towns and cities that approved it, but also to help those that didn't. Thank you. Moving forward, I think now we have an amended agenda item, and that's an update from Sweetwater Events Complex. And I believe Ms. Seppi and Mr. Lloyd are here. Ms. Seppi, if you'll come forward, introduce yourself and who you're with, and then the floor is yours. Let's get right up, speaker.
Good morning, or afternoon as it is. My name is Kira Seppi, and I'm an office assistant at the Sweetwater Events Complex. We're here today to talk to you a little bit about an opportunity that's arisen to start researching some grants and asking for your support in collaborating with Christina Marshall for some further researching of grant opportunities and writing of those grants if we decide to pursue them. So we're in a unique spot at the events complex with a pavilion project that we have coming up, where we have some donor money that we are hoping to stretch as far as possible by applying for grants and using the donor funds as the matching funds, as opposed to asking the county to provide those matching funds. And we'll be working with Christina to figure out the best matches of how grants will fit with our pavilion project, whether those are competitive grants or state funding or private funding. So I'll in a moment show you the pavilion project, a video of what that's going to look like. It's going to be up on the hill by the exhibit hall, and it has a lot of different services and what it will provide to our community and both to outside entities for recruiting of events. As you all know, we've been hosting RV rallies for the past few years out of the complex, and we're scheduled to host 2 in 2022 and another one in 2023 and potentially in 2024. These RV rallies are really attracted to things like a pavilion and outdoor space for people to utilize. There will be ADA accessible walkways and an ADA accessible playground. So in addition to bringing in additional RV rallies, it also makes us more appealing to other variety events, helping with economic diversification for Sweetwater County by bringing in new events. It also helps the community as a place for picnics. It'll be a beautiful place to have weddings, and also having an ADA accessible playground is very important to provide access for all members, children in our community. As far as economic impact, as we've seen at the complex, capital investments help in the future in ways that we can't always predict, but they end up helping. For example, like the campground, even though it was built for National High School Finals Rodeo, it's continuing to help recruit these large RV rallies. And we're anticipating that the Pavilion Project will be a similar aspect. In 2022, there'll be the 2 rallies, one in 2023, and we're potentially booking one for 2024. The total direct spending impact of those 4 rallies is just over $4 million. And so that is direct spending in Sweetwater County that a project like the Pavilion and grants can help us fund and stretch those donor money further. So I have a video of the Pavilion Project that I can show you all. No. What's the password for this?
Pretty good on that computer.
Thank you.
I think
Wow.
you're gonna have to give her a raise just if she can figure
Well,
that
I'm
out.
wondering if Tim's got a job opening.
They make more money than I do. Whatever the cell looks like.
Well, maybe she didn't get there yet, though. But you did a good job on your presentation. We appreciate that.
Thank you. Sorry. You wanna keep that thing to my phone?
That's all right. Take your time.
Well, has Miss Marshall said anything, or is she gonna speak to us about whether she would do it or not? Yes, but what does your calendar look like? You better talk to us too a little bit. Time frame.
So this is a rendering of what the Pavilion Project will be, and it's what we have the donor funds for, and we're hoping to stretch the donor funds as far as possible through grants.
Where'd you get, how much did it cost to get that hill in the background there?
And those big trees.
Yeah, was that extra?
We didn't say there were live trees.
Oh, okay.
Is that the area where this plan is right there in that grass?
Behind the flags. Mhm.
So this will serve also as a really great incentive for our local community, as a place where people can come and have weddings, company picnics, all kinds of things. So it serves a lot of purposes, both in recruiting outside events and providing a nice outdoor sheltered space for our own community here in Sweetwater County.
I see you have a little windbreak on there.
Yes. Yes, so those are, and then another aspect of this project is renovations to our small hall. So if the weather gets bad and people are having an event in the pavilion, it can just flow into the small hall and people can move the event indoors. And that is part of the overarching Pavilion Project, is doing those renovations to the small hall. We're still waiting on those estimates. So it's very exciting that we have donor funds, people who are willing to invest in this. And if we can stretch those as far as possible through grants. And Christina is really the expert on that in helping us pursue those and figure out which ones will be the best fit for this project.
I think it's important to understand that what we're talking about here is an added value to the livability of the community, one. Two, it adds to encouragement for people to come to the event complex to Sweetwater County to hold their rallies.
We heard you, but people on YouTube wouldn't.
Mr. Larry Lloyd, please introduce yourself.
Larry Lloyd. I'm the director for the events complex as of this moment. So I was saying from the seat over here is that what we're talking about here is an added value to those folks on a local basis, but also it attracts and meets the needs of folks who travel either in motorhomes or other items or other types of travel, and gives them an opportunity to use the same facility, but it gives them encouragement to come to Sweetwater County and Sweetwater Events Complex. So we anticipate that if we're able to get this put together, and we're looking at different grants, but we have a donor who has stepped up into they have committed $1 million to this project. So, and we have some other donors who have indicated a willingness to put some other additional money into it. So we're going to be out and doing things to gather up some more money. It doesn't mean that we won't be back here somewhere along the line, but we don't anticipate it's going to be anything that's going to be earth shaking. We anticipate that this is going to take place without funding from the county commission. But the commission and the rest of the people in Sweetwater County will benefit directly from the economic input stimulus from people from all over the United States. So, and I think, who do we have? Airstream? Just came? Oh, there it is. See, she's good. I'm telling you, she keeps me on track here. So as Kara mentioned, it's, it's Tiffin, it's Newmar, Airstream, Escapees. We go down through those lists of names and you think to yourself, it's just some folks in the campers. Well, they bring a ton of money, and we have worked out a partnership with the city of Rock Springs so that when people come in, we can host some activities down in the park, and which brings it down into the local businesses also. So
good.
It's I believe it's a win-win situation. Also, a lot of those folks will end up on the river, able to go down and do some fishing all along the from this end of the county all the way down. So we're excited about the program. We're also excited about the handicapped or challenged, I shouldn't say they're handicapped, but the challenged kids and people who may want to come up and use that playground and some other things up there. So, and I'm open for any questions.
Thank you. Questions, commissioners, for either, is it Carrie? Kara, or Mr. Lloyd?
Well, yes, it's very excited to see that you're coming with this, with a proposal. You're not asking us for money. And if it helps get you to a point where the events complex is more self-sufficient, that's great. So I appreciate that. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Shanefield?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I had the opportunity, and I was going to share this in my comments, but I had the opportunity to meet with both Kira and Larry about this, and the opportunity for this this playground is incredible. We don't have anything like that in our community. And we talked about some potential partnerships between the CDC and them and some other people throughout our community that would also help bring funding into this project. The Wyoming Community Foundation has some potential for awesome opportunities for funding. And they've really been open to looking at all avenues of funding and how can they make this project happen and continue to make the events complex, the best possible, to continue to grow and bring in other events that we necessarily haven't always thought of. And I think that the Airstream Rally and all of those guys, the going to the, it was a social that they had and serving, and just seeing how much fun they're having, they would utilize this facility considerably. And I think our community would as well. And so I think it's an awesome opportunity, and I really appreciate them doing the hard work and the diligence to find those funds, and also to the donors that are involved in this and actively willing to put money into making the events complex a better place.
Thank you for those comments. Any others?
No, I can only echo the same comments and that type of thing. Any other questions, commissioners, or comments?
I do have a concern, our
Commissioner
grants
Tolman?
manager.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know. I know she has a very heavy schedule, and I don't know how much time she could commit to this. It'd be my concern. I just,
I think that, well,
she always says yes, but I don't know the real truth here.
I think that what we're going to need help a little bit is to make sure that the wording in some of our grant applications stand up to any kind of questions that come along. So I think that Kira will be able to draw some of that information from her in not a lot of time. So we think it's a win-win situation for both the county and for us. And we'll try to keep her time down to a limited amount.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Any other questions, commissioners? I just have one. When I look at the structure and I look at the project, the only question I'd have is how does it fit within the MOU that we have presented to you guys?
Well, I'm not sure. I haven't seen the
Okay.
MOU. So it fits within all the things that we have been doing. And our goal has always been to make sure that the facility meets public needs, that we're able to get income where we can get it, and where the facility is available for those people who have less revenues or less money to spend. So this seems to be a win-win situation.
No, I agree with everything you're saying, because I think that's also part of the MOU, but I think there's some additional or changes in the MOU that were sent out, and that type of thing that you might want to review.
Sure.
I just wanted to know if you'd reviewed it or not.
I have not. They keep me in
Okay.
the dark. They closed the door of my office, and that's the last I see it.
That would explain why we haven't seen it back. They slid it under your door, and there's no way in the dark will you see that.
Well, I don't imagine that you would have put handcuffs on us. So we'll take a look at it and see what it's
Please
saying.
do.
So if there's a moment, I mean, if there's a thing in the MOU that I have to leave town. Yeah, look at him. He wrote the thing. So I'm not leaving. That's it.
Just remember, whatever he wrote in that MOU, we told him to.
And
Well-
Mr. Lloyd, we know you're just trying to save the county money by retiring.
Well, I think what our whole philosophy is, good people doing good things happen. So our goal is to make sure that we're all on the same ship as we leave the dock. If we're not, then we should need to come back and.
Yeah, please do.
I'm a sailor
Yeah.
or a Navy guy. so
Take a life jacket with you.
For a
Ouch.
warning to that, should I take it as a warning?
Well, it might be our last chance to get our dicks in, if you're
Larry,
retiring.
thank you. Thank you for being here this morning.
Well, you bet. Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah.
The last time I showed up, there was one person.
Uh-huh.
That was the janitor outside. No, you guys do good. So,
All righty.
all right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Come on.
She's done a great job.
She did. She did a great job. I'm impressed. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you all
Good
very much.
presentation and good project. I think it's a wonderful project. I just, we need to see what we can do to make it happen.
Yeah, thank you. And I also just wanted to let you all know I will be back on the following commission. We're pursuing a grant through our foundation, our Sweetwater Events Complex Foundation, for some improvements in the indoor arena through a T-Mobile grant. And we're just doing that privately, but I'll be back asking for approval of a potential letter of support for that grant. And I'll send that over to Ms. Shoemaker for the next meeting, so you all can have that.
Well, and I think who write that letter of support? Is that Christina?
So we're applying through the Sweetwater Events Complex Foundation. So I'm drafting it.
Okay, very
and
good.
then, you all can make any amends and changes you would like, and I'll send over also what the detailed proposal. It's for some lighting upgrades and an industrial fan in our indoor arena.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. Appreciate it. Look forward to it. All right. Have a good day. Be safe. Thank you, Mr. Lloyd. See ya. Okay, commissioners, with that being said, I think that takes care of our amended agenda. So it should take us to 11:20 topics, which is commissioner reports.
We're a little behind.
I love
Talk quick.
the look on everybody's face. Commissioner Smith, you're first.
Thank you. In an effort to keep things brief, since we are an hour and a half behind. Public Works report, the grinder project's complete. All the culverts have been installed in the Folsom Lester Pyramid reconstruction project. And crews are out taking advantage of the nice weather, grading roads, cleaning culverts, repairing fences. So thank you, Gene. And most especially, thank you for the photos. I always enjoy pictures. Much easier for me to understand. Southwest Counseling Board had board meeting last week, was excellent. Just really appreciate all the work they are doing. They're working through their policy and procedures right now, especially with the personnel. And September was recovery month. And so they had a number of events and did very well there. Appreciate them. The Board of Health, they had last week more patients in the hospital than they have ever had in the history of Memorial Hospital of Sweetwater County. So there are great concerns, and they're working hard to do their best there. Myself, along with Kim Leinberger from the Department of Health, we recorded a couple of public service announcements yesterday for the radio. So if you hear some intelligent speaking and well-constructed sentences, that's Kim, and I'd be the other person on those. So, and then I am also, as was mentioned by Representative Stith, on the Governor's Select Task Force for Health and Aging in my other life, and have also worked my way into the EMS subcommittee. And we had an excellent meeting last week. With that, we'll go with that.
Okay, good report. Any questions or comments, commissioners? All right, with that,
Yes, I do have a question.
sure.
Do you have the contract with Southwest Counseling, or where we at with the?
Was the Word document was resent to Linda last week. That's today,
Only
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Okay, it was last week. Yeah, we had our board meeting last Wednesday. So yes, the Word document was sent to her. Did she send back changes yet? No? Okay, I can't remember. She wanted to make a change, but all is well. We'll approve their funding Sunday.
All righty, thank you. Any other questions? All right, up next, Commissioner Shanefield.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So first, I'm going to kind of dovetail off of what Commissioner Smith just said. I just wanted to start off by thanking our local medical personnel. We recognize that there's been a nationwide shortage, and the massive increase in inpatient status and the increase in death rate at our hospital has gone through the roof in the past few weeks. I think many of them are hanging on by a thread and absolutely exhausted. And I just wanted to say that I truly appreciate the work that you guys are doing, and we support you, and we hope things start getting better. And then museum update. So the last meeting, we talked about the open house that they had with the Smithsonian display. And this exhibit has been well attended since that, including 2 busloads of school kids. And there's more public school tours scheduled, and at least 1 homeschool group that plans to visit the exhibit. And since the visitor center is closed on the weekends during the off season, the museum employees have stepped up and have been staffing it to keep it open on Saturdays so our county residents can view the exhibit. In addition to the on-site visitors and tours, they're also doing virtual tours that are available on YouTube and Facebook, which makes it a great opportunity for those who can't get out of the house or maybe are out of town. The museum sponsored a Music of a Community concert at the Broadway Theater on the 24th of September. That began with a discussion led by Andrea Graham. She's a University of Wyoming folk life specialist. So that was an awesome experience. And then due to COVID concerns, the museum has decided not to host any more public speaking presentations as they had originally planned. Instead, they're going to be conducting some video interviews with local historians and some others to discuss changes in rural Sweetwater County. And that kind of goes in conjunction with the Smithsonian Crossroads tour that they kicked off. They were planning on doing those speaking events throughout that exhibit being here, and instead they're going to do them virtually. So currently they've recorded interviews with Ed Varley about Bitter Creek, Frank Prevedel on Superior, and they are going to be made available for viewing on YouTube, Facebook, and some of the other internet platforms. The museum staff have fielded several research requests as usual and continued the firearm research program. And they also wanted me to invite the public to visit the Crossroads exhibit before it closes. It closes on October 24th. And so that's still open for everyone to go check out. Like I said before, I had a great meeting with the events complex, and I'm really excited that they were able to come talk to us today and give us an update. And I think that they have some great opportunities coming up in our community that continue to bring work into the community to build these structures potentially and renovate their facilities, and then also bring additional events into the community to raise revenues and provide some economic impact. I spent a considerable amount of time working through the general purpose tax process and gathering information. Pretty sure the county attorney's office is sick of me. Commissioner Lloyd have spoken pretty much daily on it. And so I think that we're moving forward in a positive direction currently. I had the opportunity to speak about the NACO broadband proposal that went to the federal government at the WCCA group from Waco 2 weeks ago. And I did that along with our state broadband manager and a local provider that we had. I think that there were some good questions that we were able to answer. I also had the opportunity to talk to Representative Stith in depth about some of the topics that he shared today, and I appreciate him reaching out to have those open conversations. And I also had a resident reach out to me about some concerns about the ad valorem taxes that the county is receiving. I'm going to be reaching back out to her and setting up a meeting for later this week to discuss that. I will be attending the silent witness ceremony on Saturday, and just wanted to say domestic violence awareness is something that both my husband and I in his line of work are very passionate about. And I have also been asked to give an update to the local PEO group on November 2nd in the evening, just to give them an update about what's going on with the county. So I'm going to reach out to everybody and love to get input from anyone on topics that they would potentially like for me to share. So.
All right, thank you. Good report. Any questions for Lauren? Okay, Commissioner Toman.
I would just start my report out by adding on to what Lauren has said. We appreciate having her on the Zoom. The director of YDOT is working very hard with the Bureau of Land Management and federal agencies to try to streamline the process for putting in broadband. They're getting snagged up in the categorical, or not the categorical, but the state historic reviews, and it's really slowing down the process. And when I did ask the BLM director here, she said that, well, some of them hadn't even applied for the right of ways, but it seems redundant. If you're already going through an established right of way, you shouldn't have to start the process over and bog everything down for months on end. So we'll be having our federal agency meeting tomorrow, and there is a new area manager for the BLM, so I can bring that up again to see if in this office they can do some things to streamline that process, because it has been a hold up. Commissioner Wendling and I attended the Wyoming Association of County Officers in Gillette, Wyoming, September 21st through the 23rd. The theme was Unity Through Adversity. I'm not going to cover all the topics because I'll leave him a couple.
Thanks.
And there were so many things that happened. I'll try to include some at the next meeting instead of covering everything today. We had updates from congressionals and statewide elected officials. The governor is still proclaiming survive, thrive, and drive as his theme of moving forward through all of these pandemic and other issues that we're facing. There were a lot of meetings on the federal funding options, which I'm not going to talk about right now. Kind of an exciting part of the convention was they had us, they provided an opportunity for us to tour. It was called Area 95. It is a Gillette College Center for Innovation and Fabrication. It had like $1.4 million worth of equipment, from metal fabricating to plastics to woods, to that the citizens of the community can apply for a membership or go in and take a class and do a project. That was exciting. And I thought, well, that might be an opportunity for us with all of our vacant buildings. While I was there, I received a letter from the National Association that I have been appointed to the Public Lands Steering Committee. And because of that, I'd like to ask for this commission's support. I know we're in budget crunches, but I would like to be involved. And I think now is more important than ever that we're involved in public land issues. There is a Western Interstate Regional Conference in Salt Lake, October, I think it's 12th through the 14th. So I just want the other commissioners to be aware of it. And if, you know, I hope they're in support of my involvement in these public land issues. Our coalition of local governments, our attorney sent out BLM scoping on oil and gas leasing. There was a pretty short turnaround on it, but they have submitted comments on our behalf for getting on with the oil and gas leasing. Airport Board had a special meeting, which I was not able to attend, but I think just to be current with them, it was regarding the snow removal equipment building bid modifications for removal of the hangar doors, pavement, and they wanted to get some of the paving done while Lewis and Lewis was on site. So just to let you know, I'm not sure which bid they accepted for that renovation of the hangar doors and the pavement. I think they had several bids. I've tried to spend more time doing community outreach because I said earlier, it's really hard for each of us or one of us to know everything about everything. So I am just inviting more public involvement in contacting, working with us, letting us know what they think. But it's like my banker said, they don't come and knock on your door. You have to reach out and find out what people are thinking. And I really, that's my goal, is to do more outreach and maybe even get small groups together to be able to discuss some issues. So you have time to really discuss them, because in here, so many times we don't have time to really flesh out a lot of ideas. So that's my goal for the next whatever time. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Tolman. Any questions? Regarding the WR conference in Salt Lake City, it's a great conference. It doesn't get in this area very often. Last time it was at Jackson, which provided a close area for commissioners to attend, and there were 2-3 of us from Sweetwater County that were in Jackson. But as far as in Salt Lake City, it's going to be a while before it gets any closer than that. So that's a conference that's open to all commissioners. And if anybody wishes to attend that, it's on the, Sally has the NACO site, just sit with her and she can work through the registration and get a hold of Bev and over in purchasing for rooms and that type of thing. But that it's a good conference. If anybody would like to attend as far as commissioners. It's a good opportunity and that type of thing. The topics are great. So thank you for bringing that up, Mary. Commissioner Toman, and any other comments, commissioners? Okay, Commissioner Lloyd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Got my notes here. Wrong one. Not a whole lot liaison wise over the last couple of weeks, but a few. I will note that tonight the library board is having a meeting to discuss a special meeting workshop to discuss how to move forward in replacing Director Jason Grubb. After that, they will solidify those plans at the next board meeting and move forward with how the search will move on. Also had the opportunity a couple of weeks ago to the Wyoming Business Council event and visit with some of the staff at the Business Council and some of our local community members. Kind of like Mary, kind of on my quest to continue to find ways to get input from the community and outreach. I am setting up some dates and we'll be presenting at both Golden Hour Senior Center and Young at Heart regarding updates with the commission and how things are going. Also want to thank Braden Flack, first time in doing a podcast with me. I'd never done a podcast, and maybe we'll do another one day, but I do appreciate that in ways of helping get out information. The last piece I think of the puzzle is a lot of my time in the last couple of weeks. Oh, I need to hit Christina. I continue to meet with Christina every other, not hit Christina, but touch, have a discussion regarding my continued discussions with Christina every Thursday regarding ARP funding and different funding opportunities and the grants we're looking at in the community, and becoming more educated in that as we prepare to have those funds more available, and really exploring things such as ways to ensure that our lost revenue costs are accurate and those things. So I do appreciate those opportunities and time. Outside of that, I think a lot of the majority of my time has been spent on the special purpose tax situation and looking at what our options were. And we've already kind of covered that. And I just want to reiterate, I think it is important for people to educate themselves on any vote that is coming to themselves and to reach out, look at it, and get the information needed to make a vote that's effective for you. And I think one of the good things that I think have happened in the last couple of weeks, as I talked about looking in the rearview mirror, is actually taking some time to maybe vet out the process and discern it a little bit. And I do think there are a lot of things we can look at doing differently and learn from that situation. And with that being said, I think it's been really great to be able to talk to people and vet out why they're for or against the situation or the different things going on, and being able to bring that knowledge back to share with the commissioners and helping us make better directions in the future. So with that, that's all I have. If there's any questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Lloyd. Appreciate that. One question, not in your report. We're still planning on having a workshop after this meeting?
Yeah, that was the plan, but I didn't expect this meeting to go until mid-afternoon. So our plan was to have discussion regarding some strategic planning amongst the five of us. So I'm okay to continue that plan if the group would, but I just want to make sure everyone's still got good fighting spirit and discussion amongst themselves and no other commitments that would make it more difficult, because we usually do that an hour after a meeting and that makes it a longer day.
All right, let's plan on continuing that, having that discussion, and I know it's scheduled for 1:30, but let's schedule it an hour for after this meeting, since it's a discussion amongst five of us in an open workshop.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody else has to plan to be here, but if anybody wants to listen in, they can through YouTube. Okay. Thank you very much for that. I'm up next to report. First of all, thank you, Commissioner Toman, for the segue into Waco and that type of thing. It was a good conference. There was several speakers. There was good work done, I believe, in preparation for this upcoming legislation by WCCA. Also, one of the fascinating parts I found out is it's in line with the NACO site and the grants dealing with COVID. when we had the presentation from the individual, I can't think of her name, from NACO, and she brought up all the sites of the grants under listed one by one, and that type of thing, and how well organized it was and how user-friendly and that type of thing. And when I saw all those grants listed that NACO had to offer, I only thought about Christina and the overload that she is getting. And I know Christina's been on the site and looked at it and that type of thing. So I'm sure it's scary to open one, because you never know, one or all may fit the needs of the county or the cities and that type of thing. And that, but there's a load of them there. There is a bunch, but that was really a good session. Director of YDOT's Colonel, his session was very good. And just like you said, Commissioner Tolman, he's going to work and see what we can get changed with regard to the right of ways and that type of thing. Also, I'd like to thank Lauren for her presentation, Zoom conference in on her participation. It was done very well, and you did represent the county in a great fashion, and we appreciate that very much. NACO, intergovernmental meeting we had the other day. It was a short intergovernmental meeting, but we did have good participation. We did have some reports and that type of thing, but we did schedule again, and we already got invites, I believe, for the 18th, Sally, of this month. Is the next intergovernmental meeting, and so everybody can put that on their calendars. Outside of that, just visiting with our attorney again with regard to the proposition, and visiting with Eric with SCDC, and little planning and zoning stuff that regarding solar energy. There is one more thing I'd like to report, and I would like to, it came from Andrew Browning from Western Tribes. Oh my Lord, how'd that? I hope nobody heard that.
Was it good?
We did.
It was good. It was good. Let me share this, please. But anyhow, I've got an email from Andrew yesterday, and it had a link, and I'll forward it to all the commissioners, but I got it this morning I finally had time to read it this morning. And the first thing he did was, when he called, he said, congratulations. And I'm going, wait, what's going on? And he sent me a link because of some work that's going on in Wyoming. And it's Williams, Orsted. And of course, Williams, keep in mind, I believe, is the company that bought out Southland over here in Wamsut area. But Williams and Orsted exploring hydrogen, synthetic natural gas in Wyoming. So basically, there's companies that have signed a memorandum of understanding to identify ways for renewables and hydrogen expertise with Williams Natural Gas. And they want to co-develop hydrogen or synthetic natural gas facilities powered by renewable energy. So they're looking at Southwest Wyoming as a place to move forward with this. And well, more than that, they've selected it. And that one of the comments is they're exploring a large-scale wind energy, electrolysis, and synthetic gas via methanation project in western Wyoming, where Williams owns land and natural gas infrastructure. So there's some huge developments. Of course, it's all towards green energy. It's reductions by 2030 2050 for missions. So there's some great stuff that he shared with me through the natural gas industry with now it's going to be synthetic. That's going to be happening. So we can look forward to that occurring. And I will, as soon as I finish my report, I will send each of you the link so that you can read the article. Outside of that, that concludes my report. I'll stand for any questions. Okay, with that, next is other. And basically that's for the good of the order or for if somebody would like something on the agenda for the next meeting. Commissioners, anything under other? Okay, with that, the next agenda item is executive session. Anything under pre-decisional, Commissioner?
No, the Pacific Soda Trona thing, the meeting has been canceled until November 7th. So they skipped 2 months because of no new information.
All righty, so there will, yeah, and we don't have anything pre-decisional for executive session.
No.
Okay, very good. So I would entertain a motion to go into executive session as needed, I believe, for personnel as well as legal. So therefore, entertain a motion.
So moved.
A motion by Commissioner Shanefield to go into executive session for personnel as well as legal. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lloyd. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So we'll go into executive session. You guys, do you want a break? Do you need